America's 5 most forgotten cars of the 1980s. The 1980s saw the rise of many iconic cars, but not every model left a lasting impression. Some cars were so unremarkable, poorly designed, or short-lived that they faded into obscurity. Here are 5 of the most forgotten American cars from the 1980s that most people barely remember. Please support us and subscribe to our channel. It will take a couple of clicks. Thanks in advance. Number 5. 1989 Ford Probe. The Ford Probe was introduced in 1989 as a sleek, modern alternative to traditional American muscle cars. However, despite its futuristic styling, the Probe never gained the popularity Ford had hoped for and is now largely forgotten. Almost replaced the Mustang. The Probe was initially developed as a front-wheel drive Mustang replacement, a move that was met with backlash from loyal Mustang enthusiasts. Thankfully, Ford scrapped that idea and kept the Mustang, but the Probe was already tainted by its association with the failed plan. Rebadged Mazda. The Probe was heavily based on the Mazda MX-6, sharing its platform and many components. While this made it a competent front-wheel drive coupe, it lacked the distinctive American character that muscle car fans wanted from Ford. Lack of excitement. The first-generation Probe, while stylish, didn't offer the performance to match its sporty looks. The base models were underpowered, and even the GT trim, with its turbocharged engine, struggled to stand out in a market dominated by true sports cars and muscle cars. Second generation was better, but it was too late. The second-gen Probe, introduced in 1993, had a more refined design and improved performance, but by then, the damage was done. The car never managed to carve out a strong identity, and Ford discontinued it after 1997. Despite its initial promise, the Probe never captured the hearts of enthusiasts, and its connection to the abandoned front-wheel drive Mustang project hurt its image. Today, it's mostly remembered as a footnote in Ford's history, an ambitious but ultimately forgettable experiment in sporty coupes. Number 4. 1980 AMC Eagle SX4. The AMC Eagle SX4 was one of the strangest cars of its time. A lifted, four-wheel drive coupe that tried to blend off-road capability with sporty styling. While it was a unique concept, it never gained widespread popularity and has largely faded into obscurity. Odd identity. The SX4 tried to be both a muscle car and an off-roader, but it didn't fully succeed at either. It had the look of a small coupe, but its high ride height and four-wheel drive system made it feel more like a rugged SUV. This confused buyers who weren't sure what to make of it. Limited performance. While the Eagle SX4 had an advanced four-wheel drive system for its time, it wasn't particularly fast or powerful. The standard engine was an inline-6, which was decent but far from thrilling. It didn't deliver the muscle car excitement some hoped for. Niche appeal. The idea of a lifted, all-wheel drive coupe was ahead of its time, something Subaru and Audi would later capitalize on. But in 1980, the concept was too unconventional to attract mainstream buyers, leading to slow sales, AMC's decline. By the early 1980s, AMC was struggling financially, and the Eagle SX4 was one of the last gasps of innovation before the company was absorbed by Chrysler in 1987. With AMC gone, the SX4 quickly disappeared from public memory. The Eagle SX4 was an oddball that didn't find success, but in hindsight, it was a precursor to the crossover trend. If it had been released in a different era, it might have been a hit. Number 3. 1985. Merkur XR4Ti. The Merkur XR4Ti was Ford's ambitious attempt to introduce a European-style performance car to the American market. Based on the Ford Sierra from Europe, It was imported under the newly created Merkur, pronounced Merkur, brand, which aimed to offer premium, Euro-inspired vehicles through Lincoln Mercury dealerships. The XR4Ti featured a biplane rear spoiler, sloping hatchback design, and a very European appearance, none of which resonated with American buyers in the mid-1980s. While it was aerodynamic and functional, the styling came off as awkward, or even downright weird to U.S. customers used to muscle cars and boxy sedans. Despite being based on a modest Ford Sierra, the XR4Ti was priced like a premium European sports sedan. But Merkur was a brand no one had heard of, and people weren't willing to pay BMW or Audi money for something that looked and felt like a rebadged Ford. Ford struggled to explain what Merkur was, or why anyone should care. The dealer network was small, parts were hard to find, and service was limited. Reliability was decent, but getting repairs done was often a hassle. The XR4Ti was only sold from 1985 to 1989, and once it was gone, so was Merkur as a brand. Few were sold, and fewer still survived, making it a rare sight today, but not one that left a lasting impact. Enthusiasts still admire the XR4Ti's rear-wheel drive layout, turbocharged 2.3-liter engine, and decent handling, but it remains a classic case of too European, too soon for the U.S. market. Its forgotten status lies in being an outlier. Interesting on paper, but misaligned with its audience. Number 2. 1987 Sterling 825. The Sterling 825 was the result of a short-lived partnership between Austin Rover, UK, and Honda in an attempt to bring British luxury to the American market. Based on the same platform as the Acura Legend and equipped with Honda's excellent 2.5-liter V6 engine, the Sterling had real potential. But it quickly became a cautionary tale in how poor build quality can ruin a good idea. The concept looked good. On paper, British design, SU, Japanese engineering. The idea was to take the solid Honda drivetrain and pair it with British styling and upscale interior finishes, leather, wood trim, and a more classic, elegant design aesthetic than the Acura Legend. Marketed as a stylish and slightly more affordable alternative to German sedans and Japanese luxury imports, the Sterling 825 was supposed to deliver Euro sophistication with Honda reliability. While the engine and transmission were Honda-made and generally reliable, the rest of the car, interior materials, electronics, trim, and assembly, was British-built and notoriously bad. Panels didn't line up, electronics failed frequently, and interiors fell apart far too soon. Sterling was sold through a small, inexperienced dealer network, and customers quickly became frustrated with lack of service, hard-to-find parts, and frequent issues. Most American buyers didn't know what a Sterling was, and those who found out it was a Rover in disguise had little confidence in British automotive quality during that era. Number 1, 1984. Chevrolet Citation II. The Chevrolet Citation II was General Motors' attempt to revive the reputation of its disastrous original X-body compact, the 1980 Citation. The Citation had debuted as GM's first front-wheel drive compact car, and while it initially sold well, it quickly gained infamy for poor quality, recalls, and reliability issues. The Citation II, in 1984, was meant to be a fresh start, but it was too little, too late. Despite the new name and marketing push, the Citation II was essentially the same car underneath. It still suffered from poor build quality, shoddy interior materials, and questionable durability. Customers hadn't forgotten, and many never returned. The original Citation faced multiple recalls, including brake issues, suspension failures, and steering problems. Lawsuits followed, and the bad press lingered. The Citation II never really shook off that shadow. By 1984, the angular, hatchback-heavy styling of the Citation already looked dated. It lacked the appeal and excitement of newer compact cars coming from Japan, and even some domestic rivals. The Citation name had become synonymous with failure, and GM couldn't rebuild trust. Even with improvements, buyers didn't want to take a chance on the second version. By the mid-80s, Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda were dominating the compact car market with reliable, stylish, and efficient options. The Citation II just couldn't compete. After a lackluster two-year run, GM quietly dropped the Citation II after 1985, leaving it to fade into obscurity. It's rarely remembered today, except as a cautionary tale of how not to launch a new platform. The 1984 Citation II is often remembered only by auto historians and GM critics, not because it was especially bad by itself, but because it couldn't overcome the massive failure that preceded it. It serves as a clear example of how a damaged brand name and unkept promises can doom even a well-intentioned reboot.